Oh, see, it automatically records. There we go. Well, welcome to the session today, folks. My name is Jody Johnson. I am just your producer, but that sounded bad. I'm your amazing producer. But you won't hear too much from me today. In just a moment, Shannon's going to be coming on and she's going to introduce what you guys are going to be talking about today. There's so many important topics in this entire series. I feel like this one's I don't know, is it more important than some of them? I don't know. It's a good one. Anyway, just so you guys are aware, if you haven't been with us before, we do have a couple of things enabled that we're going to be watching. So we have the Q&A feature enabled, but the purpose of the Q&A feature really is just for you to ask questions to Shannon specifically about the content of the webinar, or maybe even about something else. We may not answer those during the webinar, but we do keep track of them and try to make sure that we're answering those things at another time. So feel free to use that Q&A feature for that. The chat feature is open and available for all of you to use. We monitor the chat. We have a translator with us today in Spanish. So for all of our wonderful Spanish speakers, please use that as much as you possibly can. We do our best in the chat. Sometimes Teresa does her best to keep up in the chats when we have some of those questions in Spanish, but just so that you know, she is there. If you haven't ever been to one of our webinars, if you look under the reactions button, there is just some reactions to let us know how you're feeling about what's happening today. So if Shannon says something that you're just like, yeah, I really resonate with that makes so much sense to me, give us a heart, or give Shannon a heart. Webinars are a bit strange because you feel like a little bit like you're talking, thank you. There we go. Find those hearts because you feel a little bit like you're talking to yourself sometimes. So please feel use those reactions if something is resonating with you, laughing, whatever it is. Okay, we love hearing from you in the chat. We love hearing from you via reactions. Is there anything else I need to say, Shannon, before I pass it over to you officially?
I don't think so. I think you can take a little break if you'd like.
I'm going to go off camera and stop talking, and I'm going to pass it over to Shannon. Have a great session, folks.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jody. I don't know what I would do without her. She's an amazing partner to work on these things with us and making sure that all the technology is working to the best of at least of what we have control over. So my name is Shannon Rheault and I will be your facilitator today. It is so great to have you with me. I really do look forward to these monthly calls with our Healy family. It has been quite a wonderful journey getting to know some folks, especially in some of our leader calls that we have a little bit more interaction, so I get to know some of you, but it's really great. I saw, as Jody gave the invitation to connect, I saw some of them. I was accepting them furiously before I jumped in, so thank you for that as well. There's lots of great tips and great knowledge that we put out there. So by all means, take advantage of that. We're constantly talking about sales and leadership, and it's a great way to get some content that you may really resonate with. Today, we are talking about prospecting, as Jody said, and really what matters to the modern consumer. And if you if you were with us last month, we talked about influencing and what matters to the modern workforce. And this is really a build on that. So you will hear me say a couple of times, make sure you get in there. If you did not attend in person and you have yet to have had the chance to view the YouTube channel, Jody will probably put that in a couple of times throughout the day today, our time together, to make sure that you get in and really get an opportunity to view that, as it really does have a lot to do with, and they're two topics that are very integrated. So yeah, just a little bit of a plug there to make sure that you've got as much information to make you successful and help you with your Healy journey as possible. So today, again, talking about prospecting. And let me first start out by saying congratulations. So if you are here to really kind of learn from this prospecting webinar, chances are you are curious about starting a business or seeing where there might be some opportunities. Perhaps you're new to network marketing, or maybe you've been a Healy member for some time and you're curious about what it might take to build a business, or many of you may have been working hard at building your business for some time. Either way, you are a unique person, and chances are you're adventurous. You're probably somewhat of a risk taker. You're definitely curious and brave. And what's really cool about this is you're a business owner, and as a network marketer, you really are a prospector that's really panning for gold, because you're intentionally searching, digging out, sifting through, looking for those flecks of gold in the bottom of your creek. Those flecks of gold are the people that might be interested in buying a Healy. They may be interested in learning more and possibly even joining a team. The role of any direct sales professional or network marketer is to continually look to make quality connections with as many people as possible. And it's not about building your empire, although that can happen and is a real benefit of connecting with folks. It's really about uncovering which of those people have potential, as well as helping them. And really, that's the number one skill you need to hone when you're thinking about building a business. Before we dig in, though, if you've attended any of my webinars before, you know what's coming next. We are going to ask Jody to launch. Thank you so much, Jody. She's reading my mail. Launch, how'd you show up today? And of course, we asked this for a couple of different reasons. One, I want to meet you where you're at. And two, it's all about self-reflection, right? Take this, the next 55 minutes, give yourself permission to be here. Put aside those competing priorities, the things that are grabbing your attention, and really try hard to be here fully. Show up for yourself, for your business, and for your potential to meet other people that might really benefit from having a Healy and being part of this amazing family and community. Looks like we've got people all over the map today, and that is completely fine. There is no judgment here. But
And
again,
I'm gonna
yeah,
end the poll. We've got 25 responses out of 75. So
okay,
I'm gonna give it 10 more seconds,
come on, bring them in,
and then
bring
I'll
them in.
close the poll so everyone can actually see the results.
Awesome.
All
Thanks so much,
right.
Jody.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've got lots between good and great, and we've got a few that maybe are having a rough day, or perhaps you've got lots of competing priorities. Maybe you're not feeling well. It's all fine. However, it's when you take that moment to self-reflect that you are then able to move that marker. And that's the invitation that will come to you today, is to see if you can really focus and be intentional about the next few minutes that you're going to spend with us. Thank you so much for that, Jody. All right. Here are results, and here we go. All right. So we've got about 56% plus another 28%, which is very high at good and great. We've got some who are neutral, some, again, a few of you just maybe got other things going on, and I completely understand. Thank you for your honesty, for your transparency. If you know me at all, you'll know that transparency is one of my favorite core values. It is something that I really do appreciate. It makes people authentic, and it means that we're not faking it, right? We're out there, we're saying, hey, today is not my best day. And believe you me, there are days when I don't wake up a 10 out of 10. I have to really have a conversation with myself about how I'm going to show up today. But I am sitting at that 10 today. I'm very excited about today's topics. So let's jump in, shall we? All right. So what is prospecting? If you're familiar with any sort of sales industry at all, the term prospecting is not new. But if you are new to network marketing or direct sales, this is one of the most important skills that you're going to need to develop. So let's really start at the beginning. Prospecting is the first step in the sales process. So if we talk about a sales process, the consumer journey, these might be things that you've heard of before. This is really about identifying your potential customers, and we call them prospects. And the original use of the term prospectors really refers back to when people were panning for gold. They were scanning those creek beds and rock formations. And when those flecks of gold were spotted, the prospectors would spend time sifting through the dirt, to find the valuable nuggets and flecks that were left behind when the dirt was washed away. That's what a modern day prospector does. They sift through large lists of potential customers to try and uncover those who are really interested in learning more, who are interested in possibly purchasing a Healy, and maybe even becoming part of a team. And if you don't learn to prospect, it's going to be very difficult for you to build a business. Like I said, it is the number one skill that's needed for anyone who has that entrepreneurial spirit, who has a desire to build some sort of business and try to get, products into the hands of others. Fear not, though, okay? It's not as hard as you might think. And I know that, sometimes it's one of the largest objections that we hear when we share Healy and when we share our love for our businesses with others is, "Oh, I don't know how to sell. I don't know that many people." Well, essentially, we're going to break it down for you. And you may be surprised about how simple this can be. Prospecting is as simple as finding the right people who might be interested in buying a product or joining your business opportunity. And to be successful with your Healy network marketing business, you're going to need to start finding people. You're going to have to find out if they might be the right people who would be interested in Healy. Do you feel like you know a lot of people right now who might be interested? This skill shaping session that we're going to have in the next few minutes is going to give you some of those foundational tools, okay? Now, I'm going to let you know right now, if you came looking for a magic pill, app doesn't sell those. I'm sorry if you're disappointed with that. It's going to take some intention. It's going to take some focus. It's going to take letting go of those excuses. Yes, are there duplicatable things that we can do to help us along the way? 100% there are. But every prospector is different. Every prospect is different because people are different and what they are looking for could be different. So it's really about you understanding those folks, getting to know them, and doing it in such a way that you're finding potential customers, you're finding potential team members, while you keep your friendships and those relationships intact. That's incredibly important to us here at TAP, and it's incredibly important to those of you building in Healy. This is integral. We want to build trust, not break trust down. We want people to really look at us with integrity and credibility. So if you haven't figured out how to do that just yet, if you've maybe made a few mistakes along the way, which often we do because, hey, we're human, this is going to really help you kind of figure out what you need to be doing on a continuous basis. And again, just a reminder that we're going to be building on some of the stuff that we learned about being a leader and our ability and our power to influence. And we're going to build upon that to build out our prospects and really get to know people in a way that really matters, not just to us, but matters to them. Prospecting is simple. Truly it is. But I will also say it's not always easy. It is one of those things that needs some intention. It needs focus. It needs some level of organization. And really, it comes down to these 5 steps. You want to find people, and we'll talk about where you find those people in a couple of minutes. Then you need to talk to them. You can't just find them. Hey, there's a person, there's a person. No, you actually need to talk to them. And then you have to find an opportunity to invite them. Once they've developed trust, once that you feel that you might be able to help them in some way with, providing Healy, providing an opportunity to become part of a community, perhaps just helping them learn more about what we do and how we live and what are the things that help us succeed. And then we have to follow up with them. So we can't just tell them, invite them, and then go, oh, well, they weren't interested, so we're just going to leave them be. Actually, really great prospectors, really great people who truly want to help other people find solutions to their problems, follow up. They always follow up. And they create multiple opportunities to reconnect, because that's how we build quality connections. We don't just go, hey, it was really nice to meet you, and then never call them again. We actually follow up with them. We see how their families are doing. We see what's going on with them. We connect and invite them to things. And then once we've had that opportunity in place, once we build that trust, we let people decide. At this point, perhaps we've given them some of the information, not all of it, because we don't want to overwhelm them, right? We let them decide whether they want to learn more. Some people will say yes, and some people will say no. Some people will say no, not right now. Some people will say, I don't have a need right now. So you still want to be connected with them. You don't want to be fake and go, oh, well, you're not interested in Healy. Well, I'm not interested in you. No, we actually want you to care about these people. Because here's the thing, they may not see how Healy can help today, but tomorrow they may be in a different situation. You have to remember that it's okay to meet people where they're at. What your job is to build those quality connections. It's about growing your base of relationships. Really, that's what networking is growing that base, creating opportunities or touch points to see them, to talk to them, to help develop trust with them, developing those authentic relationships, and not just based on your business, based on real things, based on real life, based on joys and based on hardships, based on challenges, based on opportunities. That's what authentic quality relationships are. And then you can qualify those people. And that means qualifying leads. It's a sales term. And if you're uncomfortable with the thought, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson, then don't call it that. Call it, I'm creating a genuine connection with someone. And if the opportunity arises, then I do want to help them. That is what qualifying leads means. Just saying. All right. So last session, we spent some time, and you're actually going to see a couple of different slides that I showed you in the last webinar, and there's a reason for that. Okay. I said at the beginning of the session, I'll say it now, and I will say it at the end again, that if you did not understand what's happening, you didn't get a chance to see it, I really encourage you to either rewatch it now that you've had this conversation with us today about prospecting and see how they tie together. And we talked in our last session, or we were reminded as network marketing professionals, we really should be basing how we build our business on these principles. Connect with people, genuinely connect, to learn. Now, we may say, well, no, we're there to teach. Well, that comes after. Teaching comes after. If you're going in and you're doing this backwards, there might be a little bit of hesitation for people, because really, you need to know whether or not there's a need, if there's a desire. So your connection with them needs to be curious. Don't go in with guns blazing. Come in with curiosity. I said last time that we were together that leadership, really great leadership, and your ability to influence is based on two things. The first one, that superpower that I talked about, was your ability to build strong relationships. And the second one was genuine curiosity. The two superpowers of any great leader: being able to build strong relationships and your ability to be curious, genuinely curious. And once you've gotten to get to know this person, they start to begin to trust you. Then and only then should you be jumping in to advise them. All right. And then once you've advised them and they've made that decision to move forward, or not right now, is to serve them, and serve them in any way you can. Be there for them. Be a listening ear. Talk to them about what's going on. Celebrate successes, help them with challenges. That's really what the key to strong relationships is. So your main objective really should be, when you're thinking about as a direct sales business owner, okay? So if you see yourself as a business owner, you want to be thinking about these three things. And again, really simple, just not always easy. You need to sell your Healy. You need to sell the opportunity so that you can build a stable team. And then you help that team do 1 and 2. Simple, right? Like 3 steps. But before you really start focusing on these things, before you can sell anything, you do have to find someone to sell to, right? And that's where prospecting comes into play. That's where networking comes into play. You need to get in front of people. You need to generate some of that interest and what we call in sales leads. Okay. So a genuine interest to know more. And that's why we're talking about prospecting today. So how do you do it? Now, chances are, if you all knew how to do it, maybe you wouldn't all be here, you'd be teaching it. Or then again, maybe you've got a great and a successful business. And so you know what it takes. You know that it takes time, it takes effort, intention, it takes prioritizing, it takes all of those things. And so what we want to do is we really want you to focus in on the how. How do I do it? Well, again, very simple. I said at the beginning of the session, it's simple. It's just not always easy. And the reason why I say it's not easy is because it means that you do have to prioritize. It means that you have to set aside excuses or procrastination. Now, you may make excuses or you may procrastinate for many different reasons, and not because you're genuinely a procrastinator or that you're lazy or don't want to do the work. Sometimes it comes out of fear. Sometimes it comes out of sorry, my dogs are crying and I'm wondering what's going on. I think they've lost a toy. um, Sometimes it comes out of fear. Sometimes it comes out of your your desire not to want to pester your friends. These are things that are genuine, and you should really be considering why you're feeling that so that you can overcome it. Okay. So let's get to the how. Let's do that. You want to develop a database, what we would call a list of people. And you can do that on a piece of paper. You can put it on a computer. You can put it in a program. There are the apps galore. We even have an action sheet that can help you create that list. And you want to be systematically communicating with them. And the reason why I say systematically is not because I don't want it to be genuine. I actually want it to be genuine. However, when you're connecting with large groups of people, sometimes what can get in the way of that is your memory. Sometimes you don't remember the last person that you connected with. Perhaps because you're meeting, more than a few people at a time, you may not remember exactly what's been going on. So that list can really help you write down some notes. Oh, this person, they just adopted a new puppy. Maybe they've got a growing family. Maybe they're going through a hardship right now. These are things that can help you remember what's going on with them so that that person feels important to you. And so I don't know about you, but I know with the people that I love and the people that are important to me, I'm not great with remembering all of my friends' birthdays. So it has to go somewhere. So I write it in my calendar so that I can stay on top of it. And this is not a system that takes away from genuine connection. It's a system that helps me let them know that they matter to me. Okay. And then this is the way that you take them from potential customer to a current customer. Now, it may sound a little bit intimidating to some people. We hear all the time common objections. And funny enough, next session, that's what we're going to be talking about is objections. I don't know enough people. But we actually know more people than we realize. I think the stat says that each of us, at least a US stat shows that each of us know at least 600 people, which is amazing. And oftentimes we don't realize it. But we do have to create a list and keep track of all of those people. And your list usually starts with a warm market, okay? This is something that I want you to understand what it is. Approaching your warm market is usually easier because your warm market your warm market are people that you already know, okay? So let's take a look at that. A warm market are people you already have a relationship with. What we refer to as a cold market would be people you don't know, at least not yet. And I will say that for most people, it just definitely feels easier to connect with people in their warm market. They already know them, they have some level of relationship or trust established. And connecting with new people you've never met before, can feel intimidating. It may be a very big obstacle for some people who are interested in building a network marketing business. Now, I will also say, though, that some people actually feel more comfortable talking to a cold market because they're afraid to break trust with some of the people that they know well. So this is why we emphasize that you learn how to make quality connections with people. And I'm going to show you a really great, a great way or a great funnel to look at when it comes to building a quality connection funnel. But remember, people only start out as a cold connection. And if you take the time to make a quality connection with someone and get to know them better, your relationship will definitely and inevitably warm up. Folks, I apologize. My dogs are really wreaking havoc. So I'm just going to turn off my camera for 30 seconds and see if I can't get them out of my office so they don't continue to disturb us. Give me 2 seconds here.
While Shannon is dealing with her puppies, I'm just going to put into the chat ways to connect with Shannon on social media, just in case any of you haven't done that yet or are interested in doing that, okay? I'll just put a link into the chat. There we go. Just copying and pasting. 1 second here.
Thanks for patience, guys. My dog thinks that he's lost something under the table, but there's nothing there. And so he continues to cry. My apologies. Let's get back at it, okay, shall we? All right. So, and thanks, Jody, for filling in the gap there. I really appreciate it. All right. So, folks, let's talk about what a quality connection funnel. So you might have heard of the term a sales funnel. Well, a sales funnel is not complicated. Just like the other things that I've shared with you about prospecting, sales is quite simple. And this is what we call the TAP quality connection funnel. It's how we are, it shows on the top different ways in which we can meet people. So face-to-face and reach outs, with branding and marketing, we touch base with people at home, by phone, by internet, by social media. And essentially, the goal is around meeting people. So you're building to your network and you're making that connection. And then really, truly trying to figure out whether or not you can meet a need. Now, I did say before that you don't want to be connecting with people just because. And so you want to have a genuine connection with someone. There's nothing worse than someone coming, slipping into your DMs saying, hey, do you want to buy this for me or have a party for me? And then all of a sudden, you never hear from them again because you said no, or you said not right now. I mean, that can feel pretty cringy. And that does not build trust. And remember what I said, oftentimes, maybe because people say no right now doesn't mean that they're going to say no forever. It just may mean that it's no, not right now. It's not a good time. Got stuff going on. And so if you burn through your list that way, and you're not really genuinely wanting to help them short-term or long-term, then it's going to be problematic. And you will break trust as opposed to build trust. So therefore, you have to keep following up. And that's really what this is, and supporting them. And that may mean supporting them by liking something that they've posted on social media. It may be by giving them a call to find out what's going on with them. And it may just simply mean following up to see if, now is a better time. Okay. So right now, I'd like us to look at what prospecting is and what prospecting is not. One of the biggest hesitations, already said, is this fear of pushing, pestering, or pressuring their family, friends, or others in some sort of existing network relationships. Okay. And at TAP, we really do believe that when it's done the right way, and I mean the right way, prospecting can feel really great for you and for your prospect. It does not have to feel cringy. It can feel really great. And this is the way in which we really encourage our Healy members and our Healy family to be sharing Healy in a way that feels great to you and a way that feels great to your prospects. And if it doesn't feel great, then it's something that needs to be addressed. The goal of prospecting is not to corner people, to trick them into listening to a presentation, to make them feel guilty for not having a Healy or not understanding frequencies or not being concerned about their health. This is not the goal of prospecting. The goal of prospecting should be to see if there's a need, to see if this person has potential to learn something new that might help them, that they would see Healy as a way to enhance their lives, and that can be through the Healy as a product and just as a member. And I say just because there's a secondary piece to this for some of us, and that is to build a business. And so what you want to be doing is thinking about meeting a need and really helping people understand that need and how you might be able to help. And I'm going to invite Jody to come off of camera right now. And she's going to share an example of how not to prospect.
It's just a very quick little story. Most of us probably all have Facebook, most of us. And I had an acquaintance that I've known probably for about 20 or more years, but they weren't somebody I had a relationship with, but they were a family member of somebody I did have a relationship with. I don't know, about 6 years ago, or maybe a little less than that, she made a friend request to me on Facebook. And so I thought, oh, that's nice. Maybe she's just, she saw me and thought she'd connect. So I added her to my Facebook friend list. And I have to admit, in the back of my mind, I kind of wondered, I wonder why she's connecting. That's kind of strange. And she didn't even really say hello or anything like that. I just instantly got a message, and she was trying to ask me if I was interested in buying her product, that she had just joined a company. And I was just like, and it just felt so cringy. So that was just kind of my story. This is somebody that I didn't have a relationship with. We were acquaintances, but it was and it was a good product, and actually a product I owned a whole bunch of stuff in, which was interesting, but didn't haven't ever purchased anything from her.
Yeah, Jody, thank you so much for sharing that. We were actually doing our prep before the webinar, and she was like, "Oh, I have a perfect example of what not to do." And in fact, previously when we were making our workshops for TAP, I actually shared, and we've actually published an example of how to do it. And so I have this friend like Jody, someone that I knew a long time ago and have not spoken to them. And in fact, it was someone who I knew in high school, and 20 plus years have gone by and I've not spoken to this person at all. She's on my social media, but we've never spoken. And I got this message from her. Her name was Cheryl, and she had started in network marketing. And, like Jody, every time you hear from someone you haven't heard from in 15 years, you kind of suspect that they might be selling something. And I'm always curious to see how people are trying to do this, and whether they're going to be cringy, or whether they're going to do it the right way. And in fact, after we had an exchange, we definitely I asked permission to share this with our prospecting students, because what she did was so fabulous. So essentially what she did is she slid into my DMs and said, "Hey, Shannon, how's it going? It has been such a long time. I have been following you now for the last year, and just watching what you're doing. And I'm so excited about, your business, and I've learned so much from you, period. Nothing about her business, nothing about anything. So I went back and said, "Hey, Cheryl, it's great to hear from you. It's been a long time. What are you doing these days?" And we chatted back and forth. There was probably 3 messages before she mentioned anything. And in fact, it was me who mentioned it. And I said, I see on because now she's shown some interest. So I'm going to show some interest back. So I said, "Oh, I see that you just signed up with such and such a company." And she said, "Yeah." She said, "I'm trying to reconnect with people that I think might be able to benefit." And she said, "But I'm really cognizant of the fact that I don't want to ruin relationships. And, if you're ever interested in chatting with me about such and such a product, I'd be happy to." I'd be happy to chat with you about it, but ultimately, I'm just admiring what you're doing right now, and so on and so forth. Anyway, long story short, I asked more questions. I cannot be a distributor for any other company. That would be a conflict of interest. But I can certainly buy products, and I'm a big fan of a lot of network marketing products. And so I went ahead and purchased from her, and she continues to like my posts. She continues to say, "Hey, how's it going? Is there anything I can help you with?" But this was a way in which she did not burn through, her list of people by doing what, unfortunately, Jody's friend did. And it doesn't mean that just because you have maybe um, broken trust with potential customers that you can't go back and address that. You can actually. And in fact, what you may find is people as humans are generally really forgiving. Unless you've pestered them so much that they blocked you, then maybe it's time to move on. But it is a really great example of, how to go about it in such a way that you build trust, not break it down. So that's something for you to consider when you are reaching out to your folks. If you are reaching out to people and it's the first time you've spoken in some time, we would highly recommend that the first thing that you say is, "Hey, how's it going?" Not, "Did you see or would you be interested in?" I am constantly, I constantly get, especially on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn and I'm quite active there. And so I get a ton of marketing experts, who just send me a cold message and then they say, "Would you be interested in such and such?" And a lot of times I have no idea whether I have a need or not. And so that becomes cringy, and I just ignore them. I will never respond to those people. The only people I will ever respond to, and I really encourage you to think about the people that you respond to on social or in real life. How do they present themselves? How do they present an opportunity and or a product? And if it's working for you, chances are it'll work. It'll work for you with others. Okay, so something to really think about. Um, your success will be determined by the quality of your relationships with people. I really do believe that. I believe that in sales. I believe that in leadership. And it's the 2 topics that we are experts at here at TAP. And so I want you to consider that it is really, really important that you think about those relationships. Again, many of you might have come to today's prospecting webinar to get a magic pill, to get that, magic system. We've read or been told that the path to success is through finding a successful system that works. Many of us have heard that, and that's true to a point. It's absolutely true that if you can implement repeatable, duplicatable systems that work, okay, that's really a good thing. But before you can create a system that works, you need to learn the skills to carry out that system. And that's what we're talking about today. The reality is that prospecting is actually not a linear process. There isn't only one right way to prospect. Prospecting is all about people, and people are not predictable and they're not linear. People are complex. They don't always slot perfectly into our system. And so while we know that being able to duplicate things is very important, and that can really help in a multi-level marketing business, you still have to have a unique experience with your customers, with your prospects, and with your team members, because people have different needs. And we've talked about that when we talked about who is this, modern workforce. And remember, when we're talking about our modern workforce, we're talking about our potential team members, right? So there was a reason why I talked about modern workforce before I talked about prospecting, because guess what? The modern workforce are the potential people that might join our team. And funny enough, the modern workforce is more than ever interested in many streams of revenue, in things that they can do themselves and control themselves. So understanding who they are is so key to you being successful in your Healy business. Okay. So we want to provide you the tools, and we will share with you the know-how throughout the many webinars that we're together. But we really want to make sure that you understand that people are unique. And it is key to understand that uniqueness. Okay. I think it's important to reinforce that comparing yourself to other either direct sales professionals or network marketers is really not healthy. Okay. So, as much as each prospect, as much as each prospective team member that you are talking with and networking with are unique, each of us as Healy members are unique as well. And so, don't start focusing in on Sue, who's killing it over here, or Mark, who's killing it over here, or Afua, who's got the most amazing system over here. What you want to do is figure out what works for you. Be authentic. Be genuine in your connections. That is how you will thrive. Listen, we want to be able to help motivate people for sure. Okay. We want to inspire people. We want you to enjoy the process. We want you to be heartfelt in those connections. And rather than be motivated by guilt or what somebody else is doing over here because you're comparing yourself to others, we really encourage you as Healy members to understand that your journey is unique. And someone may get here in 3 years, someone might get here in 3 months. Doesn't matter. What you want to focus in on is your purpose and what you're trying to do. And if you are genuine in those connections, if you really do make those quality connections and you keep trust intact, and people understand your motivation and your inspiration, I can tell you right now that you will begin to see success that's growing. We all need the same foundational tools for sure, and that's why we're here. That's why Healy and TAP have connected and created a great partnership, because we want to give you those tools. We want you to choose you and your business and combine it with that purpose and that excitement and that inspiration and motivation. But we also want to remind you of what's most important. I'm going to bring it up another slide that I had showed you in the last session, and it was about trust. And I want you to remember what we learned in last month's webinar. Trust is integral to the modern workforce, who are your potential team members. As consumers, they also need trust. As potential team members, they need trust. So you need to be asking yourself on a weekly basis, am I being credible? Am I reliable? Am I a safe place? I told you it's 2 places. Do you share things that are not yours to share? And do you make people feel safe when they share things with you? Or do you have emotional responses? And what are your intentions? Because people will not only recognize your intentions, they will call you out. And that's why we see a lot of cringy network marketing and direct sales professionals who are getting called out on social media, because this is what we're seeing, these bad behaviors of people just going through and sending spam messages to 100 people. We do not want you to do that. Build quality connections, build trust with these people. And that is the way in which you will grow a credible business that is not just going to be here for 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, it'll be a sustainable business for you. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I built a sustainable business. It took hard work. It took being intentional. It took being patient. It took understanding that I needed to build trust before people were going to purchase anything from me. So who is this modern consumer? Well, we've got about 10 minutes to talk about it, but actually you already know. If you did the session last month with us on who the modern workforce is, you actually already know a lot about the modern consumer. They're the same people. People who are thinking about, working are also buying, okay? So I thought I knew my consumer, my ideal customer, and I had focus groups with dozens and dozens of direct sales team leaders who encouraged to do what I was doing when I started TAP, okay? Personal story. But at the end of the day, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And I needed to understand why. So in those early years, in those early months, I began to do research on the modern consumer. And if you don't know this already, you may, especially if you've attended different webinars with us at TAP, we talk about this a lot. But we want to share some of those things with you, okay? Consumers have changed, all right? Just like the workforce has changed, consumers have changed. The way they buy, what they buy, who they buy from, how often they buy. And need is no longer enough, okay? They want lots of options because they have lots of options. They want instant, credible information because they can find it on their own if you don't give it to them. People are constantly innovating. And what I mean by that is there are companies out there who are selling what you're selling. And so because of that constant innovation, we want to be building in ways that really matter to the consumers because the why they buy has changed and how they buy has changed. So we want to be going back to connecting to the values and the motivations of the modern consumer. I really love this little graphic, and Jody actually helped us put this one together. Super proud of it, and it really resonates with a lot of folks. Listen, when we first started buying, way back when, we were asking the question of, do I need this to survive? Okay, and if I did, then I would purchase it. But as we grew, as things changed, we wanted to know more about the details and the features. Well, okay, so what's included in this? Because now I don't just have one apple, I have 3 apples. So this one's sweet, this one's crunchy, this one's soft, this one's great to bake with, this one's good eating apple. Okay, so we have many different apples to choose from. And then I wanted to know, well, what can it do for me? Well, okay, well, this can help me with ABC. This has got more vitamins. This has got, maybe the price is right. Okay, so there's benefits of that. Maybe it's easy to get. Maybe it's better all year round. And then it was about, how does it make me feel? We started to really think about, when we purchase things, the emotions that were attached to the things that we were purchasing. And it was more than just that satisfaction of buying something. It was long-term use. Okay. And then in our most recent, what we know about our modern workforce and those newer generations is they're really interested in the greater good. They're very interested in, what does this do for my community? What does this do for society? How is this going to help me long term? But also, how's it going to help the world? How's it going to help my children? We have some great advantages. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have great advantages when it comes to Healy and what we can offer the world. So we need to focus in on that, okay? As humans, we will continue to evolve. And this may change. We don't know what the new generation of alpha consumers are going to look for. We're watching it. We'll let you know. As soon as we know, we'll let you know, okay? We're watching for it. But with that evolution comes change behaviors. And just because something used to work a certain way doesn't mean it's going to work today. And you have to remember that when you're trying to build your business, when you're trying to get healing into the hands of the people that need it, understand what might have worked for you 10 years ago What might have worked for a different company is not what's going to work for you today. It must be genuine and authentic. Okay. We must really understand what the values and motivations of those consumers are. And they are moved by culture, by purpose, recommendations. They love to hear stories, especially great stories. They're driven by missions of companies. They're driven by big ideas. They're driven by certain brands and how they are represented in the world and how they ethically source either parts or labor. They are very interested in relationships, in what it does for their community, and not just their immediate community. They're looking at the world. They're interested in movements. So if they're really passionate about a certain movement, and this company is really driven by those movements or has stepped on board to those movements, then what you'll see is people will buy just because of that. They'll choose your product, even if it's more expensive. Interesting, isn't it? So who is this modern consumer? Well, they're highly educated. And, that has to do a lot with, of course, what they have their hands on. They have the internet at their, at their fingertips. They are the most educated folks in history. They have massive access to information, good and bad. Okay. But they also know how to filter good and bad and valuable quality content. However, also understand they're socially connected. So if one friend thinks one thing, then they may take on that recommendation, okay? And they will follow the trends of their peers. So they want, and another thing is they want to interact. They want to interact with those brands. They want to know, some of you so kindly connected with me on social media. That's probably because you want to interact with my brand at tap. Maybe there's something you resonate about that resonates with you, and you understand what I'm all about, and whether or not I really understand network marketing or direct sales or Healy and all of the benefits of Healy. They're very low on trust, and we have to understand this. They're very skeptical, and more so in our line of sales channel, our network marketing or direct sales channel. They're very, very, very wary. And that has to do a lot with, unfortunately, people who tried to use the magic pill, who tried the mass dump of information, who tried to skip the most important step of building quality connections. So, as Healy members, what do we have to do? We must question our own motivations and ethics, because they will question them. Okay. They will be guarded with their time. So if you're going to ask for it, make sure it's valuable. All right. And don't go in with an attitude. Go in with understanding. They will see through fake. They will call it out. So don't be fake. It won't work for you, or it won't work long. Okay. So you want to be genuine. You want to be authentic. I'll say it over and over and over again. Listen, if you had this sense when you're watching this webinar with me that I was not authentic and I didn't believe what I was talking about, you wouldn't have stayed on with me. You wouldn't see another webinar that I've put on. It must be real. And that realness comes from deep within, and people can sense it, just like you can sense me and know whether or not I am genuine or not, and whether I really truly care about you or not. They will see the same thing and they will judge you harshly for it. So if you haven't been all in, if your motivations haven't been, what they need to be, just do the work. Just do the work. You get to change the narrative at any point. They really value respect and inclusivity. Remember that. People who look different from you, people who think differently than you, it's okay. It's okay. Because they are your team, your future team. They are your future Healy customers, and they want to be heard. So, in a nutshell, what do we know about the modern consumer? Well, They definitely buy more online than they ever have. And online referrals are really, really important. So they're influenced by their friends, the people that they're connected with. They seek a personalized experience. Now, this is very key. Going back to those mass emails where you're not connecting, they want to be connected with you, the person. Gen Z leads the way in social buying. I don't think that there's a surprise there. Okay. I think it's so funny because I think our older generations, we were always looking for the cheapest. Like my dad literally will drive 25 kilometers to save 2 cents on fuel. He will. But Gen Z will pay premium for sustainable products. If they know that this particular company is sourcing things in a healthier way for the environment or for the people, they will go there and they'll pay the premium for it. And most of all, don't forget it. Human connection matters. Don't do what Jody's friend did. You want to make a connection that really matters, that is genuine. Now, I've got a question for you. Got a few more minutes left. Did you do the work? If you attended last session, did you take out your core values worksheet and did you start understanding your values? Because if you didn't, I'm going to ask again. Because guess what? Just like what matters to the potential workforce matters to the potential customer. And if you don't understand what matters to you and what influences your behaviors, then you will not be able to understand what matters to your consumers. Okay. So do the work. All right. And the questions you really want to think about is, what do you value as a Healy member, as a potential business owner, as a growing business owner and team leader? What are you passionate about? And then you need to find out the same about your consumers and your potential prospects. Okay. I ended this next slide the same way I ended last one. And I did it for a reason, because we can talk all we want. I can be the best facilitator on the planet. It won't matter if you don't do the work. You have the power to change things. But guess what? All epic journeys start with one step. Just one. That's all you got to do. Let go of the excuses. Set the small goals, create an action plan. Don't wait for the perfect time. There'll never be a perfect time, just so you know. Invite accountability and get moving. It has been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you again. I hope you found value in it. Quick reminders that next month we're going to explore questions and hesitations, the art of handling objections. So this will be an interesting one. You don't want to miss it. This is where we're at on our journey. It'll be November 20th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard, I believe. Yes, that's what it says. Look, we're already halfway through our series. And if you have not been following the series, I highly, highly recommend that you go in. They're only an hour long. And they're really, really valuable pieces of information that can help you on your journey. All right.
Shannon, can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
I did want to mention something that I think the participants would appreciate. One of the participants today did ask about being able to listen to the audio of YouTube in Spanish. So we actually don't have them in Spanish, I don't believe, on the YouTube channel. So I just want you guys to know, I've already connected with Healy. We're going to see if there's a way we can make that happen that works well. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I'm not saying it's going to happen or not. I don't know yet, but I want you to know that we're looking into that.
Thank you, Jody, for that. See, I love that she has my back when she's in these sessions, because it's hard to chat with you and then monitor what's happening in the chat. So I really appreciate that, Joe. Thanks. All right. So if you are one of the lucky ones who has received an invitation to the Leader Call tomorrow, please don't miss it. Folks, this is one thing. And I think that, maybe folks haven't fully understood how incredible these calls can be. These are very small, intimate groups, okay? Groups of leaders. And even if the topic is similar to the webinar, It is a deep dive. We go in and we talk about the challenges that leaders face. And we get an opportunity to work with each other and share information with each other. Folks, this is one you don't want to miss. I'm telling you, these are so great. But we've had really like small people show up, like small amounts of people show up. Folks, if you've been invited to this, you need to attend the leadership calls. These are fantastic, very interactive. So I'm talking with you. We're all on camera. We're sharing information and sharing stories. So really great opportunity for you to just learn more and dive deep. Our next one is tomorrow. We're going to talk about our mindset and how our beliefs and behaviors really do matter. And this is where we're at with them. There's going to be 12 in total. We're on number 5. And we really look forward to seeing you there. Folks, again, fantastic time with you. Please don't miss the other ones. If you have, please go in and make sure that you watch them. And Jody is putting up a survey. This survey is key, okay? We don't do this for survey's sake. This is not checking a box for us. The surveys will tell us whether or not what we're doing is valuable to you. And if it has been valuable to you, we need to hear it. If there's something we can do better, we need to hear it. If there's a topic you'd love to hear about, please tell us. These are things that are within our control to change. All right. So please give us that valuable information. We want to make sure that you are getting exactly what you deserve and what you need to build your Healy business the way you want to do that. Thank you so much, folks. Can't wait to see you tomorrow for those of you who are joining.
Thanks again, folks. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Feel free to stay online for a moment. And again, click on that link to take the survey. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording. We'll see you at the next session.
Perfect. Thank you.